she's being told X, Y, and Z. I don't think much of it's sticking. I mean, she just wants to.
My best because I know that especially in international stages, I represent quite a big.
Tears in Manila and terror in Abu Dhabi have defined the emotional whirlwind surrounding Alex Eala's unforgettable homecoming and the nightmare draw that could shape her entire career. From the roaring crowds at the Alex Eala Memorial Sports Complex to the glittering yet unforgiving courts of Abu Dhabi, Eala's journey feels less like a tennis season and more like a cinematic saga fueled by national pride, raw emotion, and relentless pressure. After wiping away joyful tears from a historic week on home soil, reality has returned with brutal force as the Abu Dhabi Open draw reveals a challenge so daunting it borders on cruel. This is the story of the Philippines' brightest tennis star, a young phenom celebrated by fans who have followed her rise through late-night streams and miracle victories, including her stunning Miami Open run as a teenage wildcard who shocked the world by dismantling Grand Slam champions one after another, culminating in a chilling upset of world number 2 Iga Swiatek. Now, with the applause fading and the stakes higher than ever, Eala faces a defining test in the Middle East, one that could mark a turning point in her legacy as the girl who came home and the queen determined to conquer the tour. Just like that, Alexandra Eala etched her name into history, becoming the first Filipino woman to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal, the first Filipino player to break into the top 100, and, almost overnight, a national treasure. Yet all of those iconic moments unfolded thousands of miles from home, witnessed through screens, celebrated in coffee shops at impossible hours by fans who had waited years for this rise. That is why the arrival of the Philippine Women's Open, the country's first ever WTA 125 event, felt so monumental, marking the first time in her professional career that Eala would compete on home soil in front of the people who had fueled her journey from the very beginning. The atmosphere at the Alex Eala Memorial Sports Complex was electric, less a tennis tournament and more a coronation, as fans packed every seat, wrapped in national colors, waving flags, and chanting her name with an intensity that transcended sport itself. The moment that truly set the internet on fire came in her round of 16 clash against Japan's Himino Sakatsum, a match that continues to loop across social media feeds, coffee shops, and living rooms throughout the archipelago. On paper, a 6-4, 6-0 scoreline looks routine, almost clinical, but anyone who watched knew it was anything but ordinary. The opening set was a genuine battle, with Sakatsum swinging freely and fearlessly, unfazed by a partisan crowd that erupted at every Eala winner as if it were match point in a Grand Slam final, turning the contest into a gripping showcase of heart, resistance, and rising destiny. Sakatsum chased down balls that looked destined to be clean winners, forcing Alex Eala to dig deep into her reserves of patience and tactical intelligence as tension hung thick in the Manila air. The two warriors traded relentless blows from the baseline, locking the entire stadium in a collective breath, while Eala quietly delivered elite-level efficiency, winning 67% of her first serve points and 65% on her second, proof of the composure that separates the very good from the truly great. It took every ounce of that precision to finally crack Sakatsum, and when Eala claimed the opening set 6-4, something unmistakably shifted. The floodgates opened. What followed was a ruthless second-set masterclass, a surgical display of power and placement that ended in a stunning 6-0 bagel. Yet the scoreline was not what stole the headlines that night. It wasn't the stats or the tactics, it was what came after the final ball. In a sport often defined by isolation and edge, Eala chose grace, walking to the net not to celebrate alone, but to warmly embrace Sakatsum in a heartfelt hug that acknowledged the fight and spirit on the other side. The crowd followed their champion's lead, erupting not only for Alex but also delivering a thunderous ovation for Sakatsum's never-say-die resistance, creating a moment of pure, unfiltered sporting class. And then came the interview, as the microphone was handed to Eala and the noise slowly faded, setting the stage for yet another unforgettable chapter. In that moment, the poised professional melted away, revealing a young woman overwhelmed by the magnitude of the occasion, her voice trembling as emotion welled in her eyes while she looked into the camera and delivered a heartfelt message to Himino Sakatsum, praising her resilience and thanking her for the battle they had shared. Those sincere words echoed through the concrete bowl of the stadium, leaving scarcely a dry eye in the house as fans wiped away tears, moved not only by the victory but by the humility and humanity of their globe-trotting star. In that instant, Alex Eala was more than a tennis player, she was an ambassador of grace, proving that even in the fiercest competition, character can shine brightest. But professional tennis allows little time for sentimentality, and the tour's brutal reality soon returned. With the warmth of Manila still lingering, Eala packed her bags after a hard-fought quarterfinal loss to Colombia's Camila Osorio, a 6-4, 6-4 defeat that stung yet did nothing to diminish national pride, before jetting off to the United Arab Emirates. Context matters here. Osorio, a former world number 33 and US Open junior champion, is no ordinary opponent, and their match was tightly contested from start to finish, filled with early breaks and momentum swings, until Osorio struck decisively in the ninth game of both sets. Even in defeat, Eala stood tall, telling the sold-out crowd, "What is important is I am here in Manila, in the Philippines, and I am thankful that the WTA is here. I love tennis so much, and I am so lucky to share this experience and this journey with all of you," a statement that perfectly captured her character. Now, however, Manila is behind her, and the challenge ahead is immense. A coveted wild card into the Abu Dhabi Open, a prestigious WTA 500 event where the stakes are higher, the pressure is greater, more than $1.2 million in prize money is on the line, and the champion walks away with 500 ranking points and over $185,000 welcome to the big leagues. Even a first-round exit earns just a single ranking point, and with stakes this high, every ball matters. If Alex Eala thought the pressure of performing in front of a home crowd was intense, what awaits her in the desert may be an even harsher tactical test. The Abu Dhabi Open draw is out, and the tennis gods have shown little mercy to the Filipino star. There are difficult draws, there are bad draws, and then there is the brutal gauntlet. Eala has been handed one that would make even a seasoned top 10 player uneasy. Her opening challenge in the round of 32 is Turkey's Zeynep Sönmez, and while casual fans may glance at the rankings and assume a manageable start, Eala sitting at world number 49, Sönmez hovering around number 112, the numbers tell only a fraction of the story. At Champions Tennis, form, momentum, and belief matter just as much, and right now Sönmez is overflowing with all three. To understand why this matchup is so dangerous, you only need to look at what Sönmez just accomplished at the Australian Open, a performance that rewrote her career narrative overnight. She didn't arrive in Melbourne to make up the numbers. She fought through qualifying, stormed into the main draw, and then stunned the tennis world in the opening round by defeating world number 11 Ekaterina Alexandrova in a thrilling 7-5, 4-6, 6-4 battle that brought the crowd to its feet. With that victory, Sönmez became the first Turkish woman in history to win a match at the Australian Open, etching her name into her nation's sporting history and arriving in Abu Dhabi with confidence that could shake anyone in her path, including Alex Eala. But the story did not end with a single win. In that same match, Zeynep Sönmez became one of the most powerful human stories of the entire Australian Open when, amid the brutal Melbourne heat, a young ball girl near the umpire's chair suddenly collapsed. Without hesitation, Sönmez stopped play, raised her hand to halt the match, and rushed to the girl's side, guiding her toward the shade and catching her when she fainted again, holding her until medical staff arrived. The match was delayed for several minutes, and when Sönmez returned to the court, she was met with a thunderous ovation from a crowd that instantly understood what they had just witnessed. Later, she told reporters, "I always say it is more important to be a good human being than a good tennis player. It was just my instinct to help her," a quote that perfectly captured the character of the woman awaiting Alex Eala in round one. This is not merely a player in hot form, it is a national darling, someone who has captured hearts just as Eala has done in the Philippines, setting up a clash in Abu Dhabi that feels almost scripted. Sönmez rode that momentum forward, defeating Anna Bonder 6-2, 6-4 to reach the third round of the Australian Open and become the first Turkish player in history to do so, as red flags flooded the stands and the atmosphere turned electric. And yet, the symmetry between these two stories is striking, because Eala herself has already authored a remarkable rise. The teenage wild card who stunned the tennis world at the Miami Open by defeating Grand Slam champions Jelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and Iga Swiatek in straight sets, the first Filipino woman to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal. The first Filipino to break into the WTA Top 100, a finalist at Eastbourne, a WTA 125 champion in Guadalajara, a career-high year-end ranking of number 50, and a strong start to 2026 with a semi-final run in Auckland, two rising stars, two nations behind them, and one collision course in Abu Dhabi. Lifting the trophy at the Kion Classic only reinforced what the tennis world already knows. This is not a player who wilts under pressure, but one who consistently thrives when the lights burn brightest. Now, however, the focus shifts firmly to the present, because the Abu Dhabi Open is not just another stop on the calendar for Alexandra Eala, it is a pivot point, a true crossroads in her young career. After the emotional eruption of Manila, the tears, the embraces, the unconditional love of an entire nation, resetting the mental clock is no small task. There is a well-known phenomenon in elite sport called the homecoming hangover, and after pouring so much emotional energy into her matches at the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex, followed by the sting of the Osorio loss and the euphoric high of the Sakatsum victory and that unforgettable moment at the net, the question becomes whether Eala has enough left in the tank. The physical toll of traveling from the humid tropics of the Philippines to the dry desert air of Abu Dhabi is one challenge, but the emotional toll may be even greater. She is leaving a sanctuary of unconditional support where every error was met with encouragement and stepping into a neutral battleground where only her racket speaks. Zeynep Sonmez will not care about heartfelt post-match speeches. Paula Badosa will not care how deeply the Filipino people adore their star. They are there to win, period. This is where champions are forged, because it is one thing to play freely when the draw is open and the crowd is behind you, and quite another to perform when you are emotionally drained, the draw is stacked, and your first opponent is playing the best tennis of her life. This week may reveal more about Alexandra Eala's maturity than any tournament she has played in 2026 so far. Can she compartmentalize the emotions of Manila? Can she switch from beloved national icon to ruthless competitor? Eala herself has spoken about this very skill since her Miami breakthrough, saying, "I have experience with compartmentalizing. I have experience with being professional. I have no hesitation to bring that part of me out when I'm on court and in a setting that calls for it," words that now hang heavy as she steps into the most demanding test yet. Those words about professionalism suggest Alexandra Eala understands exactly what this moment demands, and now both Filipino fans and the wider tennis world are watching to see if she can deliver. Her rise into the top 50 has been anything but accidental, built on grit, steady improvement, and a willingness to learn from every setback, with visible upgrades to her serve, added depth on her forehand, and, as seen against Sakatsum in Manila, a killer instinct when it is time to close. But the WTA 500 level is unforgiving. Mistakes are punished instantly, short balls disappear, and there is no margin for error. That is why this storyline matters. The girl with the golden heart meets the draw of death, two history makers from two proud nations colliding on the hard courts of Abu Dhabi, Eala carrying the flag of the Philippines and Zeynep Sonmez representing Turkey. Will the emotional momentum of Manila propel Eala to another stunning upset, or will the Australian Open breakthrough star Sonmez bring her desert run to an abrupt halt? Every point will matter, every game will be a battle, and this is the brutal beauty of professional tennis. One week you are crying tears of joy in front of your countrymen, the next you are fighting for survival thousands of miles away against a fearless opponent with everything to prove. Eala is living that reality in real time. She has the game, the heart, the belief of millions, and a proven history of shocking the sport on its biggest stages. Now she must find a way to win when the cheers fall silent. The Abu Dhabi Open begins today, February 1st, the draw is set, the opponents are waiting, and Alexandra Eala is about to discover who she is when the roar of Manila fades into the quiet of the desert. So now it's over to you. What do you make of her brutal draw? Can she overcome the in-form history maker Sonmez? And did that emotional hug in Manila move you too? Drop your thoughts and predictions below. Share this story with every tennis fan you know, and stay locked in, because here we don't just report tennis. We feel it, live it, and ride every moment together.
Alex, after a terrific year last year, how does it feel to be making your main draw debut at Melbourne?
It feels great. I'm super excited.
Kamusta mga kapong Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko sa Mubadala Abu Dhabi.